Hey, it's JP again for a new component demo for WeWeb. One of my favorite components is the Combobox. A Combobox is a mix between an input and a select. And it's extremely useful to let your user search for a value inside of a list with many options. There's no native one inside of WeWeb, so I've created one to use on my project. Let me show you. So I've created 3 different forms to show you how that Combobox can be configured inside of WeWeb just using the editor. So the first one is pretty simple, like it's the most basic way of using that component. And basically what you have is a basic list, and you can use it as a simple select by just opening the drop down and selecting a value. But the pros of using that Combobox is that you can go ahead and search for a value. And you can see that as you type a text, it will filter down the list of options. And that's really convenient because if I want a specific value, I can just look for it and just select it. So that's the basic way of using that. And how I like to set up those components is I usually like to wrap my core component inside of a reusable component inside of WeWeb. I do that because that way I can just style my component once. For instance, here we can see that on the style properties of my coded component, I have all of my tokens assigned. This will basically be the same across all of my projects, and I only want to do it once. But I still want to have the flexibility of having like different placeholders, different options, different behaviors on my components. So what I can do is that I can still expose properties on the WeWeb editor so that I can modify some aspect of my components. But the core style, the core behavior remain the same across all of the different instances of my component, and that's very important to maintain a consistency across all of the projects. And so I've shown you the different style properties, and you also have like these settings of the components. I think for this one, I've basically created props for each of those elements. Like for instance, for the option, of course, I have this property that is exposed, and how it is used is here I have binded the options to my list of ticket categories. So that's pretty much how that component is set up inside of WeWeb. The next use case is to show you that this is also accessible on keyboards. For instance, here you can see that I have this outline around the input that is focused at the moment. So for now it's on the project name, but if I tab in, I can see that the focus moved to the team members. And if I go ahead and focus the arrow icon and hit space, I can now navigate inside of the different options that are provided, and I can of course select all of the elements by navigating with arrows and hitting enter, and it will populate my input. So this is all achieved with my keyboard, but I can also jump in and do it with the mouse for more control. So that was quickly the second use case. And the third one is a bit more advanced, where we have this product input or product combo box, and we likely want to create a new option. I want to allow the user to create a new product. For instance, I can toggle an option that is set on my component is the allow create. And how it works is that if I tap anything inside of my input, it will at the bottom create this new create button. If the label that the user types doesn't match any other options, then it will only be this button. On the previous ones, if I try to type something that doesn't exist, it will show an empty state. If I want to create an option, it's not as easy as just clicking this button because it requires some logic behind. On my combo box, I have this option that is linked to the product variable. What it does is that on create, so we can see that we have a bunch of element triggers, and the one that I want is the on create a trigger that is emitted when the user creates on the create button. And what it does is that it will change the project variable, and it will insert the value at the end. It's not really important what's added there, but basically it would add an option to my project. With that done, what we still need to do is we still want to set the value of the combo box to the newly created options. So this is my component. We have a bunch of workflows that we can trigger. On this one, I want to set the value to the option that we just created. And if we try this on, if I type something random and hit the create button, we can see that we've set the value and the onChange was triggered, which is what we wanted. And if we go ahead and go to the form container, So that will likely be how we want to consume the value of this combo box. We have this workflow on submit. And so this is just a placeholder action, but just to show you, if you want to access the data from that combo box, you can also have that as any other inputs in the form data. And this is my combo box with the value that was just created. So that's it for my combo box. I'll see you for the next component. Bye.